Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
Welcome.
Hello, everyone. So we're live. Here we are.
We are live.
We're live and we're figuring it out.
Yes, and I'm going to not be joining everybody, but this will be fun when people watch it back. Have a good night, Glenn, and you're in good hands with Jackie. She has some questions that are prepared for you. Hi, Jackie.
Hey, Jackie. All right, man. Enjoy your night.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
See ya. Hey, everybody. So let me introduce Jackie. Jackie's helping us out. As you can see, Ben is busy tonight doing a big event. So Jackie's going to help us out. And I guess we'll just kind of jump into a question. And we'll see if, all you guys just start sending your questions in so I can answer them.
Well, it's nice to meet you. This is the first time I'm meeting you today.
Yeah.
Our first question is, we are moving soon, and our 6-year-old daughter was excited, but now suddenly is upset about leaving the only home she ever knew.
So there you go. So there's attachment, as soon as somebody kids start forming attachment when they start getting older, around toddler. They start understanding me and mine, and it's kind of a weird concept when you're first learning it. So that they start developing their ego and who they think they are, and it's very easy for them, since it's a weird concept. It's very easy for them to attach to external things, and they think that it's actually part of them, which sounds weird to us, but that's, they're in the middle of learning a new way of being. So when they're, you take a kid's crayon and he loses his mind, so it's like, because they think that they're actually losing a part of them. So, it's like taking their arm or something, they perceive themselves that they're losing a part of themselves, and they're going to be less than they were before. So, so letting go of a house where they had some sense of security can be, trying for them. I mean, but it's anything that's trying for a child or for an adult. It's an opportunity, it's not what happens to us. It's an opportunity, or it's a problem, depending on how we're looking at it. So if we use these things as they come up as opportunities, the problem that we as parents get in most of the time is the first thing that we do is we feel bad for them. Oh my God, they're gonna go through something traumatic. They're sad, they're upset. I don't want them to be sad, upset. This is horrible. And it's, we have to stop looking at things like that and looking at them as opportunities for them to grow and for them to learn. They're going to be letting go of attachments for the rest of their lives. They're going to be, we live in an experiential world that's always changing. They're going to have to deal with changes for the rest of their lives. So what better time to teach them about this than when they're young? So they just kind of get good at it, and it's not, this horrible event that's happening.
Well, what are some things that they can do to make this move or this change in their life a little bit easier?
Really just, it's about making an adventure out of it. It's making it fun, Well, yes, this was special. We love this house very much, but where we're going is going to be a whole new chapter, and it's going to be wonderful. And teach them to look forward to change instead of to fear it. And really getting ourselves centered first is the first step, because kids read energy better than adults read it, and quite frankly, we read it pretty well too, although we don't realize we do. But so if we're sitting there, if we're scared, they're picking up on scared. And if we're sitting there going, no, it's going to be awesome. This is going to be great. Come on now. They're seeing right through us, you know, and they're going, yeah, you're really playing this up and you're trying to manipulate me and hiding the truth and you're lying. So I really should be scared. So, you know, so we really have to center ourselves in it and make sure, you know, we're okay with it. And then we can talk to them in straightforward energy, you know, congruent energy going in one direction instead of, you know, thinking one thing and saying another. That doesn't fly very well with kids.
Yeah, that's good. Well, I know that I go through a lot of change and it's still not easy. Here's our next question. Can depression cause uncertainty in relationships in regards to the depressed person specifically?
Can depression cause uncertainty in relationships in regard to the depressed person specifically? Well, yeah, I'm not sure I fully understand it. So if you can elaborate on it, do. But can depression cause uncertainty in relationships?
I think I'm trying to say that can the depression itself that a person's experiencing be actually causing the uncertainty that this person is feeling towards the other person?
Absolutely. Yeah. And that very well could be what they're saying, because it's you know, I can see how that would play out. Can you mute, Jackie? When you're not muted, I'm getting feedback. Thanks. Yeah, just, you know, unmute whenever you want to talk. So that's I think that's yeah, there you go, Anthony. There's some specific. Yeah, I mean, depression. See, we have to understand depression. There's like a scale of emotion, and I believe it was. What was the scale that? I think it might have been from Abraham teachings, a scale of emotions. I could be wrong, but you could try Googling that, or just scale of emotions, and the scale of emotions goes from positive emotions to negative emotions, lower. And anger is like here, depression is way down the bottom. And the reason is because although anger can be detrimental, it can force us into action. It can push us to take action, where depression does not do that. It's more hopelessness. So, and hopelessness does not inspire action. So that's why it's such a low level. So, I mean, when you're in a space of depression, it doesn't seem like things are going to get better. That's kind of the whole point of depression, you know? So that's why you're depressed, because you don't have hope that things are going to get better. So when you're in that space, I mean, nothing really can hold much meaning, because you don't think it's going to work out anyway. So it's completely natural to be in a relationship and just want to push somebody away. I mean, when I was battling depression many years ago and I was in a relationship, it was, you know, I remember having the specific thought, like, and we're together for years, in love. The relationship was actually a pretty good relationship. But I was battling depression, and I was just kind of telling myself, you know, it's just a matter of time. Wait until she finds out who I really am, or wait until she's had enough of this depression. And then, you know, I was kind of planting the seeds for that relationship to end, because I couldn't see a happy future. So sabotaging the relationship was just a part of that, which, you know, of course, if we continue doing that, where, you know, be careful of what you ask for, because you just might get it. If, you know, whatever we're constantly thinking about and planting the seeds, we're bringing into reality. So if we're going, oh, this is going to end, or, oh, I think I should push them away, or they're not going to stay anyway, or whatever our thought is, eventually the relationship will end. Either we'll end it or they will, but it's going to end. You can't be in a healthy relationship. That a relationship has to constantly evolve, or it dies. And if you're just trying to hold it still at one particular place, it's not it's not going to survive. So, yeah, it's definitely going to affect a relationship. Absolutely. It can take years. It can take months. It depends on the relationship, and it depends on the people. But depression needs to be dealt with. Like when you're in a depressed state, you just can't stay there. It's one of the foundational principles of this universe is that things change. Maybe that's going to be the theme for today. So everything changes. It's just your car is going to be a pile of dust someday. So everything changes. Always. It's going to. Promise. So just with that fact alone, depression is, as long as you stay and look for a way out, eventually you're going to get out, because you can't stay in depression forever. It's just nothing lasts forever except eternity. So, yeah. So
I think you're right. Change might be the theme of the day. Because I have this other question. When I have the most responsibility in my life, I become the least motivated and become less productive. Why is this happening, and what can I do while I'm dragging myself through all of these new things?
So can you put that up so I can read it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Just give me a moment.
I kind of, I think I have to lock into it mentally. Oh, and I saw Michelle's here. Hey, Michelle. And Nancy, the one constant is change. Exactly. So keep these questions coming, everybody. We got some time left. We're going to keep rolling. There we go. When I have the most responsibility, I become the least productive. While I am dragging myself through this, what can I do to become more motivated? I have the most I become least productive.
I think this person is shutting down while there's so much stuff that they need to be responsible for.
Gotcha. Yeah. So, really with that, it's, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So, we have to, nobody can handle all of life at once. But we can always handle what's happening in front of us. Whatever's in front of us, we can handle. We can do it like that. It's just unconsciously. It's amazing what our mind does to us unconsciously. It really is. It makes zero sense when you say it out loud. But if you really look at how most people function, it plays a part. This is why in recovery, one day at a time is such a big theme, because people try to handle life all at once and then they get overwhelmed. I used to say my middle name is overwhelmed because I used to completely shut down. So, I get it. It's just, but when you're looking at everything that you need to do and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? Well, you can't. You you literally can't do all of it at once, and you're trying to figure out how to do all of it at that particular moment, and you can't. So the whole method of thinking is wrong. We have to understand that it's just an ongoing process. We just do stuff. You never get it all done. We're not supposed to get everything done. It's literally impossible. If you are doing laundry and it's the last bit of laundry, if you have clothes on, you're screwed because you have more laundry to do. The clothes that you're wearing are not done yet, and they're going to have to go into the laundry. So you didn't get it all done. Once you finish eating, you're going to have to eat again. Like, we never finish it. so like we have to stop unconsciously trying to finish it. Stop trying to finish things. Stop trying to get it all done. And just, this is one of the most common things that's trying to be taught now, is to be in the moment. Live in the now, live mindfully, live consciously. All that stuff is just different ways of saying focus on the task at hand, and forget about the rest. And don't try to get it all completed. Have a rolling list of what needs to get done and prioritize it. Don't have a list and then try to, like, we're so, when we get something done, we get this little burst of, oh, I'm a good person. So we get addicted to that. We love crossing stuff out on lists. So we think, when I get the whole list done, then I'm going to really feel good. You're just putting off your happiness. And you're never going to get it all done. As soon as you get that list done, there's going to be another list. So just understand that you never get it all done, and focus on the moment. Focus staying on doing what you're doing in the moment to the best of your ability. And you're going to do it really well if you do that. And then you just do the next thing. And schedule breaks into your day too.
Oh, that's great. This one, I can see the connection to change, but now I'm trying too hard. This question is, so it's a little bit longer. I can actually read the actual question. Someone I work with is very needy and doesn't respect my boundaries outside of work, but I'm too afraid to say something because I don't want to make things awkward.
So they don't respect your boundaries outside of work.
Maybe that's.
Well, that should be, you got to make the boundaries about you. And, honestly, boundaries usually go better than we think they're going to. One of the biggest reasons nobody does anything in this world is because they have this hypothetical fear of what they think is going to happen. And a lot of times it's the energy in which we do it. So what happens is we don't set boundaries, right? And so we keep experiencing this negative action that we don't like, and we can only take it for so long until we get frustrated and explode. And that's usually how we deal with things. And then we yell at somebody, will you leave me alone? And then they go, what's your problem? And a big fight happens. And we go, see, I can't set boundaries. No, the problem wasn't the boundary. The problem was you waited until you were so frustrated you couldn't handle it, and then you exploded at them. You pointed your finger at them and said, you need to stop doing this. You're being a jerk. You don't respect me. You're an asshole. And then all of a sudden they're going like, now all of a sudden you're attacking them, and they start defending, and you wonder why it doesn't go well. We have to start setting boundaries out of self-love and risking somebody not liking you. It's okay for somebody not to like you. There's tons of people who don't like me. It's fine. It's better. I like it when people don't like me. That way, I know that I don't have to interact with a bunch of people who don't like me. And there's a bunch of people who do like me. I like interacting with people who like me. I don't like interacting with people who don't like me. So it's fine. Get clear on if you don't like me. I'm good with that. Then we don't have to interact. But it's okay for somebody not to like you, but just set the boundary from self-love and make it about you. Like if the question said something about setting boundaries outside of work. It's like, that should be really easy. Like it's tougher to set boundaries when you're working with somebody in the working situation. If you're outside of work, like just, you can just be like, you know what? I like my downtime. I like, I need my quiet time. My mind's been racing a lot. I need to really kind of take some time and take care of myself. I have to just focus on myself for a while. Say something that has truth to it, but make it about you. You don't have to say, hey, you're needy, you're being annoying, and I don't feel like talking to you. That's about them. And you're right, they're going to get upset. Boundaries are about me. I don't want to spend my nights on the phone. I need to spend a little more time with my family, or quiet time, or I like winding down and watching TV at night. So I just need to cut back on the phone calls or something like that. I mean, make it about you. And it's true. It's not necessarily about them, when you're doing it out of self-love. See, I think this is an important point, because it almost sounds like I'm saying lie, and I'm not. And I think if we understand why I'm not saying to lie, it's going to be helpful. So there's two ways to look at it. It's either out of frustration or out of self-love. If I look at it out of frustration, then they're doing something to me. I'm a victim of what they're doing to me, and I don't like it, and I have to stop it. That never goes well. And it's disempowering. You're not a victim of anybody. Your life is your responsibility. So if something is coming into your life that you don't like, it's your responsibility to, instead of doing what you don't like, it's your responsibility to do what you do like. It's fill your time with things that you enjoy. That's your responsibility for your life. So if you come at it from that angle, it's not about what they're doing to you. It's about the fact that you're not doing what you want to do. It's not doing something self-loving for you. It's not enhancing your life. And that's what your responsibility is. So if you understand that, then you can understand that it's not a lie when you say, I would rather do this, or I need to spend time doing this, instead of saying, hey, don't do that, So hopefully that helps.
That was awesome. Thank you for that. Here's another question. My best friend seems to be jealous of my relationship with my roommate. How can I help her understand that I don't like her any less?
This sounds like a perfect example of, I tell my clients this all the time. Clients very often ask me a question. They ask me how to do something the exact way that they're doing it. They say, Glenn, I want somebody to know this. How do I tell them? Exactly what you just said. So you go to your roommate and you say, hey, listen, I know I've been spending a lot of time in my relationship, and we used to spend more time together, and that's different now. And I really want to take some time to connect with you and let you know that this is not a reflection of our relationship. I don't like you any less. You're still a foundational piece of my life, and I value our friendship, and I want to make sure I keep that going. So I want to take some time to discuss this with you and make sure you understood how I felt. And then maybe you could set up some plans, we meander in life a lot, it's like, so maybe you have a running date where you go, okay, one day is you and your roommate day. You don't see your relationship on that day. It's just, that's the day that you spend with your roommate. And then the other 6 days you do whatever, but you have that running date where you guys can work on your relationship. Because we all get pulled away once, things change, man. When one person gets into a relationship, especially if it gets serious, it takes up a lot of your time, and that's okay. But, we have to understand that if everything requires energy, everything is energy, and relationships are really good examples of that. If you want a relationship to die off, just don't feed it. It's just, and it'll die off. That person just won't be in your life. So if you want to keep that person in your life, which it sounds like they did, then you put a little energy into it,
I have a question that may have been a comment earlier, but it's a spectacular question that I would love to hear your answer to.
Okay, yeah. Nicole's is worrying, fearing about something happening the same as manifesting it. I feel it's very difficult to never worry or feel fear, especially in a relationship. Yeah. The short answer is yes. Yeah, worrying is basically manifesting what you don't want. If you're constantly worrying about something, you're putting energy towards it and it's expanding. So there's a better and better chance that you're going to experience it. So yes, I don't think it's as there's a manifesting is tricky because it's one spiritual law out of a bunch of them. And it's not the end all be all. And there's lots of overlap in spirituality. So when you start going deeper into things, you start seeing overlaps of other spiritual laws and stuff. And so like you can't take one little thing of spirituality and just pull it away from everything else, call it manifesting, and then fully understand it. It's just one aspect. And I think manifesting got very popular because it's, hey, do you want free shit? Like, I mean, who doesn't want that? Like, I mean, that's why it captures everybody's attention, which is fine because it brings people into the door of spirituality. But manifesting is such a small aspect of spirituality. I don't think, if we're human beings, we're going to have fears. We're going to worry about stuff sometimes. It's going to happen. We don't have to think that everything that we worry about is going to, we're going to bring it into our life. It doesn't happen that quickly. It takes energy to manifest things into our life. So, I mean, if you're obsessively worrying about something, yeah, I would stop that, because it really is. It's putting energy towards it. And I mean, I would stop it just because it sounds like it sucks. I mean, like why go through life constantly worrying or fearing about something? I mean, that's no way to live. So you should stop it because it's sucking the joy out of your life. That's good enough reason for me right there. But I mean, the fact that it could actually bring in what you're worrying about or a version thereof. Yeah, it could. So I would, if I see something that I'm worrying about or I have fear of, I take action. I do something to try to get past that.
I could use that advice. We only have a couple of minutes, but really quick, I wanted to show this one. Yes, I miss Ben too.
Yes. Ben's such an integral part of this. So,
he really is. And I apologize. I don't have that relationship that you have with Ben. So I hope the show is going okay. I have one more question to share with you.
Well, actually, can we get back to this one in a minute?
Another question? Oh.
Yeah, I just saw Karen said it was other people's fears, and I think so that made me think that it was probably something along what I was just talking about. So maybe I could expand on it quick. It was other people's fears that was instilled in me. Okay, my mom didn't like spiders. Now I understand the spider exists and aware of the potential to rid the fly in the room. I also don't like it when the fly sits on the rim of my coffee cup. Now I appreciate the spiders more than fear them. What was the purpose of all this? You can't control where the fly lands. Well, there's so what was the purpose of all that? I mean, there wasn't necessarily a specific purpose. You're sometimes the fly's just a fly. Like, so I mean, there's not necessarily a purpose per se of fears. Most of our fears are unrealistic, almost all of them nowadays. But so you had a fear of spiders, your mom did, it got passed down to you. And then now you found a benefit for the spider, which is one way to get over it. Hey, the spider serves a purpose. Okay, that's cool. So, I mean, as long as now you appreciate them more than fear them, cool. You work through a fear. So what's the purpose? I mean, if I'm going to find a purpose in this, what it is that you work through a fear. I mean, really, the universe doesn't really care that much whether you're scared of spiders or not. Like, and it's most likely not going to be detrimental to your life that much if you go through life scared of spiders. But the problem is fear only knows more. It's like cancer. It just spreads. So when it takes over a part of you, then it has the ability to try to take over more of you and then more of you. That's why whenever I notice that there's a fear, I try to get rid of that fear. I try to work through that fear. I try to face that fear and get on the other side of it, because I don't want it taking up part of my energy field. I don't, part of my makeup. I don't want that, because if it has 5% of me and I just go, it's no big deal. Next thing you know, I allowed it to stay. So next thing you know, all of a sudden that spreads into a different fear. Now all of a sudden it's taking up 10% of me, then 20% of me. Now all of a sudden I'm scared all the time. You know, that's how fear expands when it's allowed to stay. When you don't say, hey, as soon as you recognize it, deal with it, then it has a tendency to expand. So that's why we have people that are recluses. You know, that, I mean, you don't like wake up one day locked in your house and scared to interact with life in any way. That's gradual. So you can see in that, you know, they were scared of one thing, then it became another thing, and then it became another thing and another thing, and then it took over their life. And that's why I try to minimize as much as possible, you know, any grip that fear has over me. So,
would you like one more?
Yeah, what was that one you were going to pop up?
Well, this one you might be able to autopilot.
Seems like I'm a self-sabotage. How do I become motivated to do what's good for me? Well, it's really about self-love. You know, it's about learning to love and respect yourself. You know, the more we love and respect ourselves, the less we're going to allow ourselves to sabotage. And the other thing too is consciousness. So I think those are the two pieces that it might be the majority one for some people, might be the majority the other. But working on self-love and working on awareness, because generally we don't do things that are negative for us on purpose. You know, like we don't usually sabotage ourselves consciously. We unconsciously sabotage ourselves and then realize that we sabotaged ourselves. So when you bring awareness into it, that is many times that's enough. You just put awareness on it, go, oh my God, I'm doing something detrimental to myself. Not good. I should stop that. And really look at it and understand how your life is getting worse because of it. You know, don't look at it quickly. Oh, I shouldn't sabotage myself. Oh, okay. You want to go grab a coffee? No, that doesn't do anything. We don't learn we learn stuff intellectually in this linear world, but these spiritual lessons, we have to allow ourselves to absorb it. We have to slow down. I'm sabotaging myself. What is this doing to my life? Oh, how is it making my life worse? This way, that way. What does my life look like in 5 years if I continue sabotaging things? Oh my God, like really dive into it and gain clarity. And a lot of times we'll be like, I don't want that. So I'm going to do this, you know? So awareness is a big key. And then, like I said, self-love and understanding that your sabotage is an act against yourself. You know, we don't put enough weight on how we treat ourselves, and we don't take it seriously enough. And then when we don't take it seriously enough, we don't make the change because it doesn't seem that important, because it's just us. It's just kind of how I am. You know, I should probably do a little bit better. There's no energy behind that. No, look at it and go, okay, well, you know, how would you feel if every time you tried to accomplish something, your best friend came in and just destroyed everything that you were trying to do. Would that be your best friend for very long? If somebody that you worked with, every time you were about to accomplish something, they came and messed it all up, you'd be really upset with that person. Then don't do it to yourself because it's disrespectful. Then we wonder why we don't have self-love. It's because we treat ourselves disrespectfully. And so slowing down and really looking at that and going, wow, like I disrespect myself. I act unloving towards myself. Like if anybody else treated me this way, I'd smack them. I should not be doing this stuff to myself. And raise your standards in how you treat yourself. And you can do that. It's amazing how people, the easiest way really is in everyday life. If you start looking down this rabbit hole, a lot of times we start seeing things like, people have trouble going to the gym because they go, oh, I'll go to the gym next week. And then when that day comes, they go, not today. I'll start tomorrow. That's disrespectful. If you made a promise to yourself, keep it. If anybody else did that to you, if anybody else was expecting you to show up somewhere and you didn't show up, it'd be a problem. But we don't treat ourselves with that same respect. So when you make a promise to yourself, keep it. When you do things for yourself, like buy yourself flowers and say, this is an act of self-love. I'm buying these for me because I love myself. And take a moment to feel self-love and then put the flowers there. Take a bubble bath. Sit down and read for an hour. And before and after you do each one of these things, think for a minute. I am taking time out of my day to do this act as an act of self-love for myself. I'm doing this because I love myself and I want to enhance my self-love. And then do it. And then when you're done, you're like, okay, that was an act. I took time out of my day. Yay, me. Way to go, me. I must really care about myself. I'm really, really starting to treat myself better. This is really good. Do little things like that and you'd be surprised. If you want to raise your self-esteem, do esteemable things, So hopefully that'll help.
Yeah, it's about time. So I'm going to let you do what you do.
All right, I'll wrap it up.
Yep.
Well, thank you, Jackie.
So great to meet you.
Yes, you too. Thank you. Well, thank you, everybody. Those was good questions. And, we had a little bit more interaction, I think, this time with the questions. I was just glancing at them. You see how my mind skips? Like I'm either on a flow or I'm not. I got to stay on stuff or else my mind skips off. So yeah, there was a little more interaction, which I liked. It's cool getting your questions and then sometimes getting clarity on your question if I need it, or, sometimes if I'm answering one, it spawns another one. So that kind of dynamic is fun. So thanks for participating, everybody. And thanks for watching. And the plan is, to keep doing these every Thursday at 6. Check out my book. My book's doing really well. And if you've read it, please leave the reviews because I'm getting a lot of good feedback personally, but we need more reviews on Amazon and BarnesandNoble.com and things like that so other people know that it's good. So yeah, that's it. All my stuff is at glennambrose.com. Check it out. And there's tons of info out there. Listen to the podcast, all that good stuff. So that's going to do it for today. Thank you, everybody. And we'll talk with you soon.